The Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II is an American family of single-seat, single-engine supersonic stealth strike fighters, a multi-role combat aircraft designed for both air superiority and strike missions. It also has electronic warfare and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities. Lockheed Martin is the prime F-35 contractor with principal partners Northrop Grumman and BAE Systems. The aircraft has three main variants: the conventional takeoff and landing, or CTOL F-35A, the short takeoff and vertical landing STOL F-35B, and the carrier variant CV catapult assisted takeoff but arrested recovery CATOBAR F-35C. The aircraft descends from Lockheed Martin X-35, which in 2001 beat the Boeing X-32 to win the Joint Strike Fighter program, the JSF, intended to replace the F-16, FA-18, and Harrier jump jet, among others. Its development is principally funded by the United States, with additional funding from program partner countries from NATO and close U.S. allies including Australia, Canada, Denmark, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, the United Kingdom, and formerly Turkey. Several other countries have also ordered or are considering ordering the aircraft, which would be a huge benefit for us because it's expensive. The program has drawn criticism for its unprecedented size, complexity, ballooning costs, and delayed deliveries. The acquisition strategy of concurrent production of the aircraft while it was still in development and testing led to expensive design changes and retrofits. As of July 2024, the average flyaway cost per plane is US $82.5 million for the F-35A, $109 million for the F-35B, and $102.1 million for the F-35C. The F-35 first flew in 2006 and entered service with the United States Marine Corps F-35B in July 2015, followed by the United States Air Force F-35A in August 2016 and the Navy's F-35C in February 2019. The aircraft was first used in combat in 2018 by the Israeli Air Force. U.S. plans to buy 2,456 F-35s through 2044. Damn. Which will represent the bulk of the crewed tactical aviation of the United States Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps for several decades. The aircraft is planned to be a cornerstone of NATO and U.S. allied power and to operate to 2070. The F-35 was the project of the Joint Strike Fighter, or JSF program, which was the merger of various combat aircraft programs from the 1980s and 90s. One progenitor of the program was the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, Advanced Short Takeoff Vertical Landing, ASTOVL, or ASTOL, which ran from 1983 to 1944. ASTOL aimed to develop a Harrier jump jet replacement for the United States Marine Corps and the UK's Royal Navy. Under one of the ASTOL's classified programs, the Supersonic Short Takeoff and Landing Fighter, SSF, Lockheed Skunk Works conducted research for a stealthy supersonic short takeoff and landing fighter intended for both the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Marine Corps. Among the key short takeoff and landing technologies explored was the shaft-driven lift fan system. Lockheed's concept was a single-engine Canard Delta aircraft weighing about 24,000 pounds empty. The Advanced Short takeoff and landing was rechristened as the Common Affordable Lightweight Fighter, or CAF. In 1993, it involved Lockheed, McDonnell Douglas, and Boeing. The end of the Cold War and collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 caused considerable reductions in Department of Defense spending and subsequent restructuring. In 1993, the Joint Advanced Strike Technology, or JAST program, emerged following the cancellation of the United States Air Force's Multi-Role Fighter, or MRF, and the United States Navy USN Advanced Attack Fighter, AFX programs. MRF, a program for relatively affordable F-16 replacement, was scaled back and then delayed due to post-Cold War defense posture easing F-16 fleet usage, and thus extending its service life as well as increasing budget pressure from the F-22 Advanced Tactical Fighter program. The AFX, initially known as the Advanced Attack, began in 1991 as the Navy's follow-on to the Advanced Tactical Aircraft program for the A-6 replacement. The ATAs resulting in A-12 Avenger II had been canceled due to technical problems and cost overruns in 1991. In the same year, the termination of Naval Advanced Tactical Fighter and naval development of the United States Air Force's Advanced Tactical Fighter program to replace the F-14 resulted in additional fighter capability being added to the AX, which was then renamed AFX. Amid increased budget pressure, the DoD's bottom-up review in September 1993 announced the MRFs and AFX cancellations, with applicable experience brought to the emerging JAST program. JAST was not meant to develop a new aircraft, but rather develop requirements, mature technologies, and demonstrate concept for advanced strike warfare. As JAST progressed, the need for concept demonstrator aircraft by 1996 emerged, which would coincide with the full-scale flight demonstrator phase of the Advanced Short Takeoff and Landing, or CAF, which was the Common Affordable Lightweight Fighter. Because the Advanced Short Takeoff and Landing and Common Affordable Lightweight Fighter concept appeared to align with the JAST character, the two programs were eventually merged in 1994 under the JAST name, with the program now serving the United States Air Force, Marine Corps, and Navy. JAST was subsequently renamed to Joint Strike Fighter, JSF, in 1995, with short takeoff and landing submissions by McDonnell Douglas, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, and Boeing. The JSF was expected to eventually replace large numbers of multi-role strike fighters in the inventories of the U.S. and its allies, including the Harrier, F-16, F-18, A-10, and F-117. International participation is a key aspect of the JSF program, starting with the United Kingdom participation in the Advanced Short Takeoff and Landing program. Many international partners requiring modernization of their air forces were interested in the JSF. United Kingdom joined JAST and JSF as a founding member in 1995 and thus became the only Tier 1 partner of the JSF program. Italy, the Netherlands, Denmark, Norway, Canada, Australia, and Turkey joined the program during the concept demonstration phase, with Italy and the Netherlands being Tier 2 partners and the rest being Tier 3. Consequently, the aircraft was developed in cooperation with international partners and available for export. Boeing and Lockheed Martin were selected in early 1997 for CDP, with the concept demonstrator aircraft designed X-32 and X-35 respectively. The McDonnell Douglas team was eliminated, and Northrop Grumman and British Aerospace joined the Lockheed Martin team. Each firm would produce 2 prototype air vehicles to demonstrate conventional takeoff and landing, carrier takeoff and landing, and short takeoff and landing. Lockheed Martin's design would make use of the work on the SDLF system, conducted under the Advanced Short Takeoff and Landing and CAF programs. The key aspect of the X-35 that enabled short takeoff and landing operation. The SDLF system consists of the lift fan in the forward center fuselage that could be activated by engaging a clutch that connects the drive shaft to the turbines, and thus augmenting the thrust from the engine's swivel nozzle. Research from prior aircraft incorporating similar systems such as the Convair Model 200, Rockwell XFV-12, and Yakolov Yak 141 were also taken into consideration. By contrast, Boeing's X-32 employed direct lift system that augmented turbofan would still be reconfigured when engaging short takeoff and landing operations. Lockheed Martin's commonality strategy was to replace the short takeoff and landing variant SDLF with a fuel tank and the aft swivel nozzle with two-dimensional thrust vectoring nozzle for the CTOL variant, the conventional takeoff and landing. Short takeoff and landing operation is made possible through a patented shaft-driven lift fan propulsion system. This would enable identical aerodynamic configuration for both short takeoff and landing and conventional takeoff and landing variants, while the carrier variant would have an enlarged wing to reduce landing speed for carrier recovery. Due to aerodynamic characteristics and carrier recovery requirements from the JAST merger, or JAST, the design configuration settled on a conventional tail compared to the Canard Delta design from the Advanced Short Takeoff and Landing CAF. Notably, the conventional tail configuration offers a much lower risk for carrier recovery compared to the Advanced Short Takeoff and Landing CAF Canard configuration, which was designed without carrier capability in mind. This enabled greater commonality between all three variants, as the commonality goal was important at this design stage. Lockheed Martin's prototypes would consist of the X-35A for demonstrating conventional takeoff and landing before converting it to the X-35B for short takeoff and landing demonstration, and the larger winged X-35C for carrier variation compatibility demonstration. The X-35A first flew on the 24th of October 2000 and conducted flight tests for subsonic and supersonic flight qualities, handling, range, and maneuver performance. After 28 flights, the aircraft was then converted into the X-35B for short takeoff and landing testing, with key changes including the addition of the SDLF, the three-bearing swivel module, 3BSM, and roll control ducts. X-35B would successfully demonstrate the SDLF system by performing stable hover, vertical landing, and short takeoff in less than 500 feet, or 150 meters. The X-35C first flew on the 16th of December 2000 and conducted field landing carrier practice tests. On the 26th of October 2001, Lockheed Martin was declared the winner and was awarded the System Development and Demonstration Contract. Pratt & Whitney was separately awarded the development contract for the F-135 engine for the JSF. The F-35 designation, which was out of sequence with the standard DoD numbering, was allegedly determined on the spot by Program Manager Major General Mike Ho. This came as a surprise even to Lockheed Martin, which had expected the F-24 designation for the JSF. Interesting. As the JSF program moved into the system development and demonstration phase, the X-35 demonstrator design was modified to create the F-35 combat aircraft. The forward fuselage was lengthened by 5 inches to make room for mission avionics, while the horizontal stabilizers were moved 2 inches aft to retain balance and control. The divertless supersonic inlet changed from a 4-sided to a 3-sided cowl-shaped and was moved 30 inches aft. The fuselage section was fuller, the top surface raised by 1 inch along the centerline, and the lower surface bulged to accommodate weapons bays. Following the designation of X-35 prototypes, the 3 variants were designated F-35A, conventional takeoff and landing, F-35B, short takeoff and vertical landing, and F-35C, carrier variant, all with a design service life of about 8,000 hours. Prime contractor Lockheed Martin performs overall systems integration and final assembly and checkout. FACO at Air Force Plant 4 in Fort Worth, Texas. While Northrop Grumman and BAE Systems supply components for mission systems and airframe. Adding the systems of a fighter aircraft added weight. The F-35B gained the most, largely due to a 2003 decision to enlarge the weapon base for commonality between variants. The total weight growth was reportedly up to 2,000 pounds, over 8%, causing short takeoff and vertical landing key performance parameter thresholds to be missed. In December 2003, Short Takeoff Vertical Landing Weight Attack Team, or SWAT, was formed to reduce the weight increase. Changes included thin airframe members, smaller weapons bays, and vertical stabilizers, less thrust fed to the roll post outlets, and redesigning the wing mate joint electrical elements and airframe immediately after the cockpit. The inlet was also revised to accommodate more powerful, greater mass flow engines. Many changes from the SWAT effort were applied to all 3 variants for commonality. By September 2004, these efforts had reduced the F-35B's weight to over 3,000 pounds, while the F-35A and F-35C were reduced in weight by 2,400 pounds and 1,900 pounds, respectively. The weight reduction work cost $6.2 billion and caused an 18-month delay. The first F-35, designated AA-1, was rolled out at Fort Worth on the 19th of February 2006 and first flew on the 15th of December 2006 with Chief Test Pilot John S. Beasley at the controls. In 2006, the F-35 was given the name Lightning II after the Lockheed P-38 Lightning of World War II. Some United States Air Force pilots have nicknamed the aircraft Panther instead, and other nicknames include Fat Amy and Battle Penguin. Let's go for Battle Penguin. That's fucking awesome. The aircraft software was developed as 6 releases, or blocks, for SDD. The first 2 blocks, 1A and 1B, readied the F-35 for initial pilot training and multi-level security. Block 2A improved the training capabilities, while 2B was the first combat-ready release planned for the United States Marine Corps' initial operating capability. Block 3I retains the capabilities of 2B while having new technology refresh 2 hardware and was planned for the United States Air Force's IOC, or Initial Operating Capability. The final release for SDD Block 3F would have full flight envelope and all baseline combat capabilities. Alongside software releases, each block also incorporates avionics hardware updates and air vehicle improvements from flight and structural testing. In what is known as concurrency, some low-rate initial production aircraft lots would be delivered in early block configurations and eventually upgraded to Block 3F once development is complete. After 17,000 flight test hours, the final flight for the SDD phase was completed in April 2018. Like the F-22, the F-35 has been targeted by cyber attacks and technology theft efforts, as well as potential vulnerabilities in the integrity of the supply chain. Testing found several major problems. Early F-35B airframes were vulnerable to premature cracking. The F-35C arrestor hook design was unreliable. Fuel tanks were too vulnerable to lightning strikes. The helmet display had problems, and more. Software was repeatedly delayed due to its unprecedented scope and complexity. In 2009, the DoD Joint Estimate Team estimated that the program was 30 months behind public schedule. In 2011, the program was re-baselined. That is, its cost and schedule goals were changed, pushing the IOC from the planned 2010 to July 2015. The decision to simultaneously test, fix defects, and begin production was criticized as insufficient. In 2014, Undersecretary of Defense Acquisition Frank Kendall called it, quote-unquote, acquisition malpractice. The three variants shared just 25% of their parts, far below the anticipated commonality of 70%. The program received considerable criticism for cost overruns and for the total projected lifetime cost, as well as quality management shortcomings by contractors. As of August 2023, the program was 80% over budget and 10 years late. This is why multi-role fighters are not the way. The JSF program was expected to cost about $200 billion for acquisition in base year 2002 dollars when SDD was awarded in 2001. As early as 2005, the Government Accountability Office had identified major program risks in cost and schedule. The costly delays strained the relationship between the Pentagon and contractors. By 2017, delays and cost overruns had pushed the F-35's program's expected acquisition costs to $406.5 billion, with total lifetime cost, i.e. to 2070, to $1.5 trillion in then-year dollars, which also includes operations and maintenance. The F-35A's unit cost for the LRIP Lot 13 was $79.2 million, not including the engine, in base year 2012 dollars. Delays in development and operational test evaluation, including an integration into the joint simulation environment, pushed full-rate production decisions from the end of 2019 to March 2024. Although actual production rate had already approached full rate by 2020, the combined full rate at Fort Worth, Italy, and Japan FACO plants is 156 aircraft annually. The F-35 is expected to be continually upgraded over its lifetime. The first combat-capable Block 2B configuration, which had its basic air-to-air and strike capabilities, was declared to be ready by the United States Marine Corps in July 2015. The Block 3F configuration began operational test and evaluation in December of 2018, and its completion in late 2023 concluded SDD in March 2024. The F-35 program is also conducting sustainment and upgrade development with early aircraft from LRIP Lot 2 onwards, gradually upgraded to the baseline Block 3F standard by 2021. With Block 3F as the final build for SDD, the first major upgrade program is Block 4, which began development in 2019 and was initially captured under the Continuous Capability Development and Delivery Program, C2D2. Block 4 is expected to enter service in incremental steps from the late 2020s to early 2030s and integrates additional weapons, including those unique to international customers improved sensor capabilities, including the new AN/APG-85 AESA radar and additional ESM bandwidth, and adds remotely operated video enhanced receiver rover support. C2D2 also places greater emphasis on agile software development to enable quicker releases. The key enabler of Block 4 is Technology Refresh 3, or TR3 avionics hardware, which consists of new display, core processor, and memory modules to support increased processing requirements, as well as engine upgrade that increases the amount of cooling available to support the additional mission systems. The engine upgrade effort explored both improvements to the F-135 as well as the significantly more powerful and efficient adaptive cycle engines. In 2018, General Electric and Pratt & Whitney were awarded contracts to develop adaptive cycle engines for potential application in the F-35, and in 2022, the F-35 Adaptive Engine Replacement Program was launched to integrate them. However, in 2023, the United States Air Force chose an improved F-135 under the Engine Core Upgrade (ECU) program over an adaptive cycle engine due to the cost as well as concerns over risk of integrating the new engine, initially designed for the F-35A, and are on both the B and C. Difficulties with the new TR3 hardware, including regression testing, have caused delays to the Block 4 as well as a halt in aircraft deliveries from July 2023 to July 2024. Defense contractors have offered upgrades to the F-35 outside of official program contracts. In 2013, Northrop Grumman disclosed its development of Directional Infrared Countermeasure Suite named Threat Nullification Defensive Resource, THNDR. The countermeasure system would share the same space as the Distributed Aperture System, DAS, sensors and act as a laser missile jammer to protect against infrared homing missiles. Israel operates a unique subvariant of the F-35A, designated the F-35I, that is designed to better interface and incorporate Israeli equipment and weapons. The Israeli Air Force also has their own F-35I test aircraft that provides more access to core avionics to include their own equipment. The United States is the primary customer and financial backer with planned procurement of 1,763 F-35As for the United States Air Force, 353 Bs, and 67 F-35Cs. For the United States Marine Corps, and 273 F-35Cs for the United States Navy. Additionally, the United Kingdom, Italy, the Netherlands, Turkey, Australia, Norway, Denmark, and Canada have agreed to contribute US $4.375 billion towards development costs, with the United Kingdom contributing about 10% of the planned development costs as the sole Tier 1 partner. The initial plan was that the U.S. and 8 major partner countries would acquire over 3,100 F-35s through 2035. The 3 tiers of international participation generally reflect financial stake in the program, the amount of technology transfer and subcontracts open for bid by national companies, and the order in which countries can obtain production aircraft. Alongside program partner countries, Israel and Singapore have joined as Security Cooperative Participants, SCPs. Sale to SCP and non-partner states, including Belgium, Japan, and South Korea, are made through the Pentagon's Foreign Military Sales Program. Turkey was removed from the F-35 program in July 2019 over security concerns following its purchase of Russian S-400 surface-to-air missile system. As of July 2024, the average flyaway costs per plane are about $82.5 million for the F-35, $109 million for the F-35B, and $102.1 million for the F-35C. The F-35's mission systems are among the most complex aspects of the aircraft. The avionics and sensor fusion are designed to improve the pilot's situational awareness and command and control capabilities and facilitate network-centric warfare. Key sensors include the Northrop Grumman AN/APG-81 Active Electronically Scanned Array Radar, BAE Systems AN/ASQ-239 Barracuda Electronic Warfare System, Northrop Grumman Raytheon AN/AAQ-37 Electro-Optical Distributed Aperture System, Lockheed Martin AN/AAQ-40 Electro-Optical Targeting System, and Northrop Grumman AN/ASQ-242 Communications, Navigation, and Identification Suite. The F-35 was designed for its sensors to work together and provide a cohesive image of the local battle space. For example, the APG-81 radar also acts as part of the electronic warfare system. Much of the F-35 software was developed in C and C++ programming languages, while ADA-83 code from the F-22 was also used. The Block 3F hardware has 8.6 million lines of code. The Green Hills Software Integrity DO-1878B real-time operating system runs on integrated core processors. Data networking includes the IEEE 1394B and fiber channel buses. The avionics use commercial off-the-shelf components when practical to make upgrades cheaper and more flexible. For example, to enable fleet software upgrades for the software-defined radio systems, the mission system software, particularly for sensor fusion, was one of the program's most difficult parts and responsible for substantial program delays. The APG-81 radar uses electronic scanning for rapid beam agility and incorporates passive and active air-to-air modes, strike modes, and synthetic aperture radar capability, with multiple target track well scan at ranges in excess of 80 nautical miles or 150 kilometers. The antenna is tilted backwards for stealth. Complementing the radar is the AAQ-37 DAS, which consists of 6 infrared sensors that provide all-aspect missile launching, warning, and target tracking. The DAS acts as a situational awareness infrared search and track, and gives the pilot spherical infrared and night vision imagery on the helmet visor. The ASQ-239 Barracuda electronic warfare system has 10 radio frequency antennas embedded into the wedges of the wing and tail for all-aspect radar warning receiver. It also provides sensor fusion of radio frequency and infrared tracking functions, geolocation threat targeting, and multispectral image countermeasures for self-defense against missiles. The electronic warfare system can detect and jam hostile radars. The AAQ-40 EOTS is mounted behind the faceted low observable window under the nose and platform's laser targeting, forward-looking infrared, and long-range IRST functions. The ASQ-242 CNI suite uses half a dozen physical links, including the directional multifunction advanced data link for covert CNI functions. Through sensor fusion, information from radio frequency receivers and infrared sensors are combined to form a single tactical picture for the pilot. The all-aspect target direction and identification can be shared via MADL to other platforms without compromising low observability, while Link 16 enables communications with older systems. The F-35 was designed to accept upgrades to its predecessors, processors, sensors, and software over its lifespan. Technology Refresh 3, which includes a new core processor and a new cockpit display, is planned for Lot 15 aircraft. Lockheed Martin has offered the advanced EOTS for the Block 4 configuration. The improved sensor fits into the same area as the baseline EOTS with minimal changes. In 2018, Lockheed Martin picked Raytheon for improved DAS. The U.S. Air Force has studied the potential for F-35 to orchestrate attacks by unmanned combat aerial vehicles via its sensors and communications equipment. A new radar called the AN-APG-85 is planned for the Block 4 F-35s. According to the JPO, the new radar will be compatible with all three major F-35 variants. However, it is unclear if older aircraft will be retrofitted with the new radar. One thing to point out about the unmanned combat aerial vehicles is they are now starting to employ them as wingmen.